in doing research about her, I was just blown away. So I'll just mention one thing. She was the co-founder of an organization called Mothers Against Drilling in Our Neighborhoods. Please give a round of applause if you already know who that organization is and what they do. So in 2012, this group successfully pushed for an amendment which banned fracking, drilling, and injection in Broadview Heights, Ohio. So this neighborhood, or this community in Broadview Heights, had an average of 10 to 15 wells per year. Do you know how many wells they've had since 2012 when this amendment was passed? Not a single one. So that's incredibly impressive. She is currently an organizer for Community Environmental Legal Defense Fund. Please put your hands together for Tish Odell.
Thanks, everybody. I'm going to start out with some stats. 72 million pounds of known carcinogens released into the atmosphere each year. 2 trillion pounds of livestock waste laced with antibiotics, hormones, and chemicals dumped in our waterways and applied to our land. 11 million people live within 1 mile of a Superfund site. Chromium-6, you may have read the article last week, found here in Lake Erie in Ohio waterways. Lead in the water in Flint and Sebring, Ohio. The Ohio River is the most polluted river in the United States for 7 years straight. We're almost numb. Every day we read about these horrible things happening in statistics, day after day. Maybe nothing shocks us anymore. But what should shock us is that in spite of 40 years of the most strict environmental regulations and the best environmental laws, our environment is worse off now than it's ever been. We're literally breaking the planet. To be clear, clear-cutting, pollution, fracking, pipelines, they aren't the real problem, though. That's not what's killing our planet. It's our belief that we can continue to do these destructive things without any repercussions to ourselves. That somehow we humans have been elevated above the basic laws of nature. It's delusion of the highest order. And guess what? We need to snap out of it. However, when we read the headlines and turn on the news, it all seems so overwhelming. What can we do to stop climate change? How do we save the planet? The enormity of the problem actually paralyzes us either into inaction, or we just simply keep repeating the same model that we've been taught by a system that's actually allowed all this destruction to take place in the first place. So our real problem is that we have come to believe that we, the people, are incapable of governing ourselves. We believe that we would be lost without all the wise electeds and government professionals managing our political, economic, and legal systems. So the first step to changing all this is the hardest step. We have to cleanse our brains of all that we have been fed and understand that we are not only the best qualified to make the decisions about our future, but we're the only ones who can. We have to believe that we would make better decisions than those who are currently making them for us. The second step is that we have to stop pretending that it's somehow okay or justifiable to allow 3 or 6 or 10 parts per billion of chromium-6 into our beloved Lake Erie over here, or any of our waterways, because we want more cheap, colorful plastic toys and novelties from Walmart. Or that it somehow is acceptable to allow 110,000 tons of greenhouse gases, VOCs, and other toxic chemicals to be released into our community's air for a fracking compressor station because it creates jobs. We have to start being honest with ourselves. It's immoral to poison the water, air, and soil, no matter what the perceived benefit is. Just as the abolitionists were vocal and fierce in their stand that slavery was immoral, no matter the consequences to the economy and the privileged who benefited. Just as the suffragists were adamant that it was flat out wrong that women were not treated as equals under our laws. The civil rights activists showed the immorality of separate but equal, and our LGBT friends have fought for decades. We too have to realize and fight for nature and the environment on the grounds that it is immoral to destroy and pollute for profits. How do we do this? Where do we start? Back to that feeling of being paralyzed, right? I want you to think smaller for a moment, not bigger. I know everything in America is always bigger is better, but think smaller. Think about your own community, the place you live, the place that you've raised your families, that you invest so much time and energy in, because it's home. Cleveland is my home. Lake Erie over there is precious to me, not just because it provides drinking water for me and my family, but I have so many memories with my family and friends that involve Lake Erie. Each of us knows this feeling about our communities, and it's why that's where we need to start to make the change. For too long, we've let others in far-off places make decisions that affect our communities and our families. And many of us have been following the Sioux at Standing Rock. Well, they're fighting and resisting for the same thing. It's their home. That's what they're protecting. We have the same things here in Ohio. So if we stop trying to literally change the world and instead focus on saving our own communities, collectively we will save the world. So how do we do it? Well, we pass laws. By the people, for the people, and for nature, because we are one with nature. When the system says we can't do that, you can't do that, you can't pass that law, we do it anyway. And when they challenge us and strip us of our laws, guess what we do? We come back and pass more laws. And when they ignore our laws and they try to proceed with their destructive project, what do? We defend our law and our community. Because at that point, who's really breaking the law? What kind of community do you envision for your children's future? One with clean water to drink and clean air to breathe? One where they don't have to be afraid of the police? One where people can earn a living wage so that poverty is basically non-existent? One where food can be grown and eaten without the fear of it being laced with toxins and chemicals? One where elections are fair and not controlled by those with the biggest checkbooks? One where our children can go to school, receive a good education, all our children, and not worry about a mass shooting in the halls? We can create those communities, but it's up to us to do it. It's up to us to stop believing, and nature's not helping me here. I wrote it this morning. It's up to us to stop believing that an illegitimate system that passes unjust laws is our only option. This is what the community rights movement is all about, and I hope you will visit our table. It's over there now. Take a flyer. We have a community rights workshop if you live in Cleveland coming up on October 22nd. We invite you to come. We also have 2 petitions going for state constitutional amendments to legalize democracy by the people. And also, if you like movies, and I assume you do since you've come out to watch Josh's new film, there's a documentary about community rights coming out next month. It's called We the People 2.0. And I just want to thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity. And please open your mind to a new way of thinking about the problem and how to solve it. Thank you.
All right, keep that going for Tish. Amazing work. So